Okay, quick intro. So I worked in big tech for about 40 years. This guy and I both came from the same company. Having worked in big tech, for those of you who have been in big tech at all, you'll know that there's been massive redundancies over the years. So about 2 years ago, it was IBM, and I was part of 20,000 people who were retrenched in a period of 3 months. So I'm retrenched. And it's like, well, as they say, I didn't expect it, but I was prepared for it. And the question then became, well, what am I going to do with myself? And fortunately, I happened to be at retirement age, and I was prepared for it. And so I decided that I wanted to get into web development, and specifically, I wanted to do a bit of a give back for organisations like non-profits and small business who wanted to do good things for society, but didn't really have the money to be able to put their presence online and manage things. I got into WordPress because, of course, if you're talking to non-profits, small business, etc., just about all of them use WordPress because it's free. You can get you can get cheap hosting. Your domain costs nothing, and of course, a bunch of free plugins, and hey presto, you're up and running. The problem, so the good thing about WordPress is that it's got this wonderful ecosystem, and you can find just about anything. The problem with WordPress is it's got this wonderful ecosystem, and you can download just about anything. And all of the non-profits and small businesses that I work with have exactly the problem. I get called in to do a website and clean up a website, and the biggest had a website, and they had 65 plugins, of which 30 weren't used, and I got it down to 35. But that's a common story, that type of thing. So what do? I provide affordable, quality web development, support and maintenance to small business and non-profits. And I deliberately, unlike everyone else who's been talking, say with pride, I do it, to use the Australian chicken. So that's what I do, and this is me in retirement. Am I having fun? Yeah, I'm having fun. The good thing about non-profits, and I'm doing a big plug for non-profits because I want to go counter to a lot of what other people have been saying today. Non-profits are incredibly grateful for your time and your professional. I started off, my first project was just a volunteer project for a non-profit. They'd been hacked. They'd had students put up their website, and it was a complete mess. It was a disaster, and I rescued them. And to this day, they'll ring me up every now and then. They'll kind of say, "How are you going? How's your wife? Have you been on any good holidays?" It's just a completely different relation. I won a project, I think it's going to be closing today, literally, where they are going to pay me $100 per month for the next 10 years. Is $100 a month a lot of money? No, it's not. But it's all about relation. It's all about, all this stuff. So that's what I do. There's a link there to my website if anyone's interested, which you won't be. But at the end of the presentation, there is a QR code. I'm obviously not going to provide the QR code right now because you'll just start looking at the presentation and stop listening to what I'm saying. All right, the background to this project. the website that I focused this case study on, and by the way, the reason that I decided I'd say a case study was because, as Vlad said, I regularly present WordPress meetups, and I'm in Brisbane, and I asked Vlad, so what's a subject that is popular? He said, I constantly want people to talk about case study. That's what I want people to. Sure. The case study. This is a small business. It's a lady who lives out in rural New South Wales. She's an interesting lady. She's got 10 children. She has homeschooled all of them. And she's turned this into a business where she's actually running a membership website where she provides syllabus and resources and everything for parents who decide to homeschool their children. This is not big business. It's a lady who provides this stuff. When I started working with her, she was the classic messed up website. We ended up having to split the website into 2 parts. She went and bought another domain, and the project really hard for a month. And we actually split the website into 2 parts, and the homeschool went off to one part, and she had some other stuff. We just rebuilt in the other. But what I'm going to be talking about is a listing of 1,900 educational books, because for the homeschooling resources, you need to have a syllabus, guides. Parents need to know how to structure the information for their kids. And part of it is, well, you need to know if a child is of this age and is studying this subject, then what are the good books for the kids to go and read? And where do you buy them from? Because she didn't want to sell them. She just wanted to tell people, this is where the books are. Go and buy them. So the requirement was to build a searchable book list by age group, subject, curriculum, etc. And well, I'll show you the full list of taxonomy fields shortly. And when she started looking at the existing plugins that are available for libraries and everything, she found that none of them met the requirement. They didn't have the required taxonomy fields, etc. And so this is a lady who has 10 kids, is running around doing all sorts of things, and she decides that I'm going to build something myself, and she's got no technical skill whatsoever. Zip. The website that we ended up is this. Put it in context. Wattle Gum Homeschool, homeschool literature-based curriculum and resources. And that's her reading books to 3 of her 10 children. So, small business. All right. So what were the requirements? And it's when we start getting into the requirements and the solution that you'll start seeing why I thought, well, this is kind of quirky. And the reason that I'm doing this presentation is because it's a low-tech solution. It's a quirky use of WordPress. And it's kind of, I think it was kind of cool what she ended up building. So there were 8 taxonomy fields that she wanted to think of them as category or tag fields. She needed the book lists to be displayed in a table format. if you think of how posts are normally displayed in WordPress, it's a grid layout. She didn't want a grid layout. She wanted a table. Right? She then wanted to be able, for each book on the list, she wanted to be able to provide a description of the book and links as to where the book could be purchased. And as I've mentioned, she's not highly technical. She relies on one of her sons who's a bit more technical to help her with technical stuff. But she did really want something and so she did design this. Okay, so there's 3 components to this solution that she ended up building in. The first one, and this is probably the most unusual one, is she decided that even though she wasn't going to sell anything, she was going to use WooCommerce. Why the heck would you use WooCommerce if you're not going to sell anything? And the answer is that fundamentally, WordPress has, I'm going to say, 4 types of field native. 3 native and 1 you can add to. You've got pages, posts, products, and custom posts. And she was already using pages and posts, and she decided that she would repurpose product to do what. So she went with WooCommerce for making this booklet. We used the Astra free theme. We're going cheap, and I'll say here, right here and now, I love Astra. For all my clients, I use it every single time. It's fantastic, highly customizable, and if you're half decent with HTML, you can add stuff into your footer and do all sorts of things. It'll give you all the colours and typography and everything. And it's one of the big performance. So WooCommerce turned out to meet some of her requirements, but not all. And so you can put up a product image. And so the product image was a book cover. She wanted to describe the book. Description. She wanted to provide links. So there is a WooCommerce product type, which is external affiliate. And that gives you a link to another site. And of course, it gives you 1 category, but she, as I said, wanted 8. What it doesn't provide is all the extra required fields, and it doesn't need table list. Okay, so what do we do then? Many of you have probably heard of advanced custom fields. It's been around for a long time. It became a real smash hit for a while. It's gone through a lot of controversy, and for those of you who aren't aware, the WordPress organisation took over Advanced Custom Fields free, commandeered it because of security issues, and that happened in October last year. So if anyone's using Advanced Custom Fields free, tries to download it, you'll find that it doesn't exist anymore because WordPress has taken it over and it's now secure custom. Pods is a direct competitor to secure custom fields free. Sorry? You can get it, but if you try and upgrade that, no, I can tell you. I hate to tell you, but WordPress commandeered. Really? Because I was reading blogs that were saying, you know, no matter what you do, the blogs I was reading were. Okay, you found a way around. Secure custom field. And the reason why WordPress hijacked ACF Free was that there was an accusation of severe security in ACF Free, and they couldn't come to an agreement about how those security issues were going to be addressed. And so the WordPress team hijacked it. And if you, all right, we've just been saying, yeah. Yeah, anyway. So, pods, direct competitor to ACF Free, whether you go for ACF Free, SCF, pods, whatever, this solution used pods, and okay, that's fine. What did she use it for? So with pods, of course, you can create custom post types and custom fields in pages, posts, products, and custom posts. It is completely free. There is no paid. And so in this case study, she used it for adding the additional taxonomy fields to product. And so here's the full list of the 8 taxonomy she wanted. And it was remarkably simple to add these additional taxonomy. So you've got the list of taxonomy fields up on the left-hand side. And after adding a taxonomy field, you then have to describe, you have to link it to where it's going to appear. And so you can see you've got a list of options here and simply say, link it to product. You're done. Okay? So you've just added a taxonomy to product. All right, the third component was all about then displaying your WooCommerce product in a table rather than the regular grid type that you. And so the plugin that she chose, and frankly I wouldn't have chosen this one if I were her, was this thing called WooCommerce Product. It is designed specifically to display WooCommerce products that you might want to add to the cart. And so it allows you to build the product table with customised columns instead of using the grid layout. And it includes an integration to the WooCommerce shopping cart. So if you see something in the table layout, there is a button there. You can say, add to cart. And cool, but she didn't use it, but she paid for it. So, bit of an overkill. It is a premium paid plugin, and out of this whole solution, in fact, out of her whole 2 websites, it's the only thing they paid for. The configuration of the table was really simple because basically all you do is you just list the columns that you want to appear in the table layout. And then, of course, you're using shortcodes, and so you can see on the left there's an example there, product table, product underscore table, and then we've put in a qualifier there of category equals, and she's got a category. You can obviously create different query tables if you want to, or else you can use, she just had one called WGHS tables, and she just qualified the query by using this category equal. She did it. All right, so what does this all look like? So this is just a sample book list off the site. And so you get an image of the book down the left-hand side, the name of the book, the writers, the illustrators, the tags, if it's part of a series, target age group, print status. And obviously the reason that I'm showing you this is because if you are using WooCommerce, then as soon as you start thinking about taxonomy fields, additional taxonomy fields, possibly different layouts other than grid, or then this is starting to look like something that's not your typical WooCommerce product listing, and it starts to look interesting. And the very fact that she's used WooCommerce for something that isn't even product sales is kind of left field. I thought it was interesting. So obviously you click on one of those books and you then get the description of she's providing to her members. And so you've got a description of the book, and this is obviously just standard WooCommerce layout. So you've got the long description down the bottom, you've got the short description up the top, and the short description is fundamentally the external link that she's using. Okay, it's working. So as I was thinking about this solution, I was thinking, is this ideal? Would I, if I was designing from scratch, would I do exactly the same thing again? And obviously there are alternate components. Is it perfect? WooCommerce versus a custom post. ACF and pods, the others, allow you to create custom type. Is there an advantage of custom post type over WooCommerce in this scenario? I don't think there was. Same, pretty much. The data is produced. She's used standard functionality out of the box. So it works. I can go either way. Pods versus secure custom fields, aka advanced custom fields free. There's lots of debate going on about this, that whole shitstorm. We'll see how this falls out. Is the story over? Probably not. Right now, I will say that I did go onto the WordPress site looking for documentation for secure custom fields. Like, I'm now a beginner WordPress person. Show me the user guide. Show me how to actually use this. And WordPress, not their document. It's dreadful. And so, don't go into secure custom fields if you don't know what you're doing, because the document is dreadful. Gail is saying that you can go back to the original ACF free site and download it there. Right. Or else pods, and both of them have good documentation. So I struggle with this secure custom fields right now. I would hope that their documentation will improve. But either one will get you the extra taxonomy fields that you can put into products, posts, pages, etc. Table listings. This is the one that I really wouldn't have used what you used. There are some good table plugins. Admin columns is one that seems to get referenced a lot by some of the other, particularly the pods website, and I think the ACF website also recommends admin columns. Ninja Tables is an interesting one. They have an offer for non-profits. They'll give you a 50% discount if you're a non-profit. It also does synchronization with Google Sheets, which is kind of an unusual one. Haven't tried Ninja Tables yet, but next project, that's what I want to try. And then Barn2 have table plugin. So there's plenty of table listing plugins out there if you want to go for this table layout instead of the regular grid layout. So that's pretty much it. If you do want to look at the presentation for any reason, there's the QR. Any questions? Everyone want to go home? Go. In what way? Yes. Yeah.
I like.
Yeah. 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 It possibly could have. I think, frankly, she didn't have the technical knowledge. And so she decided, I think it was actually the table plugin people who drove her down the pods route. Yeah. Yeah. Is that it? Drinks? Yeah. So we're a little bit early, but hopefully you've all had a good day. And for those of you who don't come from Brisbane, hope you enjoy Bris Vegas. Thanks, everyone. Yes. Yeah, which was really left field. Yeah. I'm pretty gobsmacked that she came up with this, because when I looked at it, I thought, wow, that's pretty wild and wacky. I wouldn't have thought of that in a million years. It is. I wouldn't have gone down that route, I've got to tell you, but she did, and hats off to her. Yes, she did.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah. Yeah. So, the thing about this case study is it did change my whole view about WooCommerce. It just made me think, oh, okay, well, instead of thinking of it as only being for situations where you're selling, actually think of it in the same way as posts and pages, and your whole outlook kind of changes, and it just gives you another off-the-shelf solution for where you can put stuff.
You get some.
You can choose whether or not to add it. And so there was an add to cart option in the table option, and she just didn't include it. But obviously I think it was the image and the book name were both hyperlinked through to the product. Well, that's actually really easy. That I could do that in Astra Free. I did that in Astra Free. So there's Astra Free actually has a certain amount of customization for WooCommerce, and I fiddled with it for about an hour or something or other, and found that you can remove that add to cart. Yeah. 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 No, it was in the Astra Free. So that's why I mentioned that up front, because I did find the Astra Free did allow you to remove the add to cart and do the customization that you needed to be done. Sorry. Oh yeah. It's it's not a lightweight plugin, and that's why I kind of said, would I have gone with a custom post type versus WooCommerce? Woo was it's heavy. It's heavy work. Yeah, exactly. But it comes with lots of extra stuff as well. Did I've forgotten now. Sure. Let's play with the Windows. Sorry, I need to log in as admin to get to the pages. I'd have to find the pages she's got just to put it. She's got 288 pages. So, curriculums and syllabuses and all sorts of things. So, we got a lot of pages. And nope. Yeah, so because because the shop page and category pages all use the traditional grid layout. She didn't want the grid. And so what she's using is the table layout. And so she went away again that I wouldn't have gone, where she just used a single table layout, but used all these shortcodes and embedded different shortcodes in 30 different pages. Okay, sure. Not what I would have done, but does it? Okay. That's right. And of course, the other thing is that, frankly, depending on your audiences, you do have certain audiences that, frankly, only use desktop or laptops. And the audience that we're talking about here, homeschooling parents, they're not doing it on phones. Does she care about it? Frankly? Because it's all about a desktop for teaching and all that.